Hello, Mark Red Larson here for the Dreamcatcher podcast. Thanks for joining us. Today, my guest is AJ from Seattle. How are you doing today, AJ?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Mark?
I'm doing great. I mean, I've got coffee in hand, so that's always a good thing. So, got to work
Yeah,
out
that's
now.
always
Uh,
amazing.
yeah, it is. So AJ, are you from Seattle originally?
So I grew up in India and then
Yeah.
I moved to the US to do some education and then do some work further ahead.
Okay. So, how long have you
Yeah.
been where you're at? I mean, how long have you been in Seattle?
I've been in Seattle for about 7.5 years now.
Oh, so quite a while then.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a while.
So, so how'd the weather compare where you were at in India to where you're at in Seattle?
Uh, oh, it's night and day. It's true.
I would
The
guess.
coldest it would get to, yeah, the coldest it would get to, like right now, if I went back to India, right now it is in Celsius, it would be 16 degrees Celsius. Let
Okay.
me let me convert that to Fahrenheit.
Okay. That's not too bad. I think I could handle that.
That would be about that would be about 60 degree Fahrenheit.
I can handle that. That's
61.
my kind of weather. I
Yeah,
love that kind of weather.
yeah,
So how cold does
yeah.
it get?
So it was really good.
Never snowed there, obviously. Then in India.
No, no, never snowed there. Never. I
Okay.
mean, there are parts of India where it snows,
Okay.
further up north of India. But I grew up in the southern part of India, which is mostly warm through the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Warm it can be good. That's for sure. So how cold does it get
Yeah.
warm in Seattle? Is it?
So the summers can get quite warm. It can go
Can it?
up to 80s, 90s, rarely hundreds, but it could get there.
Okay.
But it's the temperature has been increasing every year. So
Okay.
yeah, we don't know me each year.
Yeah. It's definitely changing. So why did you move to Seattle?
Actually, I got a job as a software engineer here in Seattle. That's the reason I moved here.
Okay. Okay. Are you still doing that then too?
No, I'm not a software engineer anymore. I'm actually working as a life and business coach, supporting other coaches in getting their
Cool.
business up and running, and sometimes supporting other people who are facing challenges in their life, getting through it and finding a way through.
Very awesome. And I know when we talked the other day, you've had a little dealings with Tony Robbins too. So,
Oh, yes, yes, absolutely. A lot of my work in coaching was shaped by Tony Robbins.
uh-huh.
I was fascinated by him when I first came across him. And ever
Yeah,
since then, I've
amazing.
been studying his work, studying all the things that he has researched, studying the books he has written, and more from a mindset perspective. Let me be clear about
Right.
that. So that's the part that completely fascinated me.
Uh-huh.
And I have spent years trying to dig into it and what are his tools, what are his methods, so that I could incorporate the same thing and try and give similar results to my clients.
Right. No, so okay, what made you go from where you were the job you went over to the United States for to doing what you're doing now? What was the choice there? I mean, not happy with that one, or you just wanted to always do something different, or this was your dream?
Yeah, so it was my dream starting
Okay.
2017. Let me put it that way.
Okay. Okay.
So once I got to know, yeah, once I got to know Tony Robbins, that was the first time I realized that there was an entire industry focused on helping others. And I had no
Yeah.
clue of something like this existing before that. When I got to know that,
Uh-huh.
I felt like this was home. This is where I belong because
Understand that.
a lot of my life was spent trying to support others and trying to use my wisdom to actually help others through whatever challenges they're going through. And it felt like when I found this was
Mhm.
the space I was meant to be in.
Yeah, you felt like home. Yeah, I know what that feeling is. It's like this is
Yeah,
it. Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
So
yeah.
okay, explain for the audience what is exactly you do. You said you help people with coaching and things, and so what? Like in a day, what does an average day look like for you if you do have an average day?
Yeah. My day can vary because there are certain aspects I have to focus on with the business, and then there's coaching. What I
Right.
do is I can explain what a coaching call looks like so that the
Okay.
audience has a much better idea of what coaching would look like.
Cool.
One of the first aspects that as a coach I'm trying to understand is one, what's the challenge? Two,
Okay.
what is the context they are giving themselves around the challenge? What's the story that's built up? And
Right.
three, what does this person think is required to get to their ideal life? So let's say, for example, I am going through a work crisis. Okay.
Right.
So I'm going through a work crisis, and the story I'm saying is my manager hates me, so he isn't giving me the opportunities.
Okay.
Okay, that's the context, that's the challenge.
Right.
What is the ideal life going to be like? Is it going to be that this person is going to be extremely happy if they get promoted? Is it going to
Mhm.
be this person is looking for a different kind of manager? What is going to feel like this person made it through this challenge? Once we know that, my entire work is trying to support this person by asking questions, by getting them out of their emotional state, and using any tools I have to be able to get them into a space that they are accessing their own wisdom, they're able to channel everything they have to finding the answers and getting to that destination.
Oh
It's as
wow.
simple as that.
Okay. That is simple, but is it? I mean, I'm sure each person's different, but is it that simple for them to do that to get to?
Depends on the situation. Sometimes people are much more caught up in the story that's there, and
Yeah.
it's trickier to get them out. And so you
Yeah.
have to be very creative with the tools you use. So I'm sure you must have come across people who will say, this is how life is, and this is what it
Yeah.
is. And any
Yep.
other way you say is stupid. This is what it is.
Yep. No,
So
I have.
those are very interesting conversations you have, and you have
I
to navigate
bet.
it with a little bit of subtlety,
Uh huh.
with a little bit of nuance, because you want to be respectful. They have a worldview and they have their right to have that worldview,
Sure.
and you're respecting that worldview. However, you're also trying to see what's missing in the worldview. If I use the same worldview, how can I use that worldview to get them to that space?
Right. Right.
So that's it's like a lot of times I'm trying to literally walk into the other person's shoes.
Awesome. And I could see that would be a good way to do that. So do you have
Yeah.
an age group that you work with in general, or is it just all age groups?
I work with any age group, honestly, if they're open to working on the challenges they have.
Okay. Okay.
Typically, I've found that it's a bit more trickier after maybe age 50, 55. In the broad perspective. I've met
Sure.
people who are even in the age 60, 70 who really want to get through challenges, who want to
Right.
learn, who want to do all sorts of things. So it'll depend on the person.
Yeah, that makes sense. So if people want to
Yeah.
work with you, how do they find you?
Oh, they can find me on my social media profile, which
Okay.
is either on Instagram or Facebook, and I can just pass on the links, and they
Okay.
can
We'll
connect
definitely
with
share
me.
those in the show notes. And okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So okay. I asked you this the other day. So when you were growing up, what were your dreams when you were a kid? What did you want to be when you were an adult? So
When I was growing up, the earliest dream that I can remember is wanting to become a scientist.
cool.
And that was partly because of the environment, partly because of what I was getting reinforced for. But I wanted to become a scientist.
Okay.
And I didn't know what kind of scientist. I didn't know
Uh
what I
huh.
wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to be a scientist. That's it.
Can relate with that. Yeah. I mean, that looks like something
Yeah.
cool. No, I mean that.
Yeah. That would have
Would
been
Would
interesting.
you ever want to be a scientist in addition to what you're doing now?
I think there's a part of the scientist within me that still lives.
Okay.
So as I'm working through all of this, I'm constantly trying to experiment with what tools and methods I can use with my clients and what will bring them the best results.
Yeah.
So the learning, the research, and the
Right.
implementation are both still constantly there. So it may not be the term scientist, but there's still
Yep.
that aspect of me that I have to bring into the work every day.
That makes sense. I could definitely see that. So what you're
Yeah.
doing, what would you like it to look like in 5 years? I mean, your business here.
It would be fascinating. So, in 5 years, if I can reach even let's say 1,000 coaches
Wow.
through my work
Uh-huh.
and create a substantial impact in their life, that would be incredible. And the
Yeah.
reason I say this is I look at it in a compounding effect. So I want to be able to touch the lives of people who will then go and touch the lives of many more people.
Ripple. Yeah.
So that it's not all about me. It's actually I'm just doing the work that will propagate all everything ahead.
So cool. I love that because
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Ripple. You touch one and that goes out and it just keeps going out to so much
Yeah,
goodness.
exactly.
Um, so, do you have any other businesses you would like to start in addition with this? That would be kind of a
Um,
complementary to what you're doing.
so never thought about that. And if and when the time comes, maybe. But if I do ever venture into another business, it would be something in the software field, and I'll try to marry coaching and software in some way
Yeah.
to give greater benefits to people.
So, would you ever do an app or something like that, or
Maybe, I
have
don't
your own
know.
app where
Technology
they?
is constantly
Yeah.
evolving. So
Yeah.
I can even see a future where maybe I'm creating this GPT model or something like Chat GPT or something, which is
Okay. Okay.
trained with all the tools that people need to create breakthroughs. And they just have to get on a call like this and speak. And
Yep.
this fictional scientific person understands everything. They understand the nuances of how to speak to someone, and then they're
Yes.
able to carry them through wherever they need to go. That would be incredibly powerful.
It would. And I've been having people tell me to have a bot, and I'm not even sure what a bot is, but they
Uh-huh.
said that is the direction I should look into. And it's like, okay, I don't think I know that one. I'm just trying to with AI. AI is moving along
Yeah.
so fast. I mean, it
Oh, it's
is
moving
it
incredibly fast.
is definitely amazing. So okay, do you ever go back to India then, or do you have family back there still?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have family back there. I go back at least every 1 or 2 years, every couple of years.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
that's probably a long flight, I
yeah.
would guess. I don't know how long that would be, but
Oh,
I
it's
would
a
think
it's a very long flight. Usually it takes at the minimum of 24 hours of travel by flight to
wow,
get there.
that
Yeah.
is a lot. So if I was to
Yeah,
go
that's a
back
lot.
where you grew up, would there be something I should see there? Or if I as a
Oh,
tourist?
there are so many fantastic places. So if
Really?
you visit, if you visit India, it's there is so much history to it. So you can go to the north where there's a lot of architecture, or even to the south. Actually, they have their own architecture because back in the day, India was a combination of different kingdoms.
Okay.
So different kingdoms ruled by different rulers, and they had their own architectural styles that they brought to the kingdoms, right? So you can go see that. There are a lot of beautiful, beautiful scenic places, and
Really?
you can, yeah. So a part of the Himalayas goes through the goes through India, and Mount Everest. If you think of Mount Everest, it's
Right.
in Nepal, yeah.
Right.
But the surrounding peaks are in India, so
Okay.
you can
So
get to
like
see
that.
a lot
Okay.
of beautiful views. A lot of beautiful views. There are some gorgeous, gorgeous hill stations around. There's so much. There's so much to visit. There are national parks.
Okay.
Everything that you would. Yeah,
That would be
it's
nice. I mean, I
very
love travel.
fascinating.
So I mean,
Yeah.
so do you like to travel to other parts of the world then yourself?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So I haven't. I would want to. So I got out of the habit of traveling a few years ago, but I it's definitely on my roadmap.
So is there a place that you've been to in the world that is your favorite so far?
Um, one of the places that really comes up for me is Yosemite, which
Okay.
is right up here in California. So
It's
Yosemite, yeah, when I went to Yosemite, that was the first time I truly fell in love with hiking. And that inspired me to start hiking every year.
wow.
So
Good. Yes.
yeah,
No, I
yeah,
mean that is, yeah. Get exercise is so good. In fact, I just did a workout
yeah,
right
and
before
it's
I
so
came here. So,
beautiful.
yeah, I
You can
bet.
get some very very captivating views.
Yeah, I was. How far is that from where you're at in Seattle? Is that? How is that?
So if I had to go to Yosemite right now, it would be about a 2 hour flight down to maybe the Bay Area, and then
Okay.
there's a 4 hour drive from there.
Okay, that's not too bad, especially compared to what
Yeah,
I'm sure you're used to if you went home. So, no.
yeah.
So, do you?
Yeah.
I mean, you're coaching. So, what? I mean, do you do speaking in front of other people to help? People that are lost or needing direction, or have you ever thought about doing that or writing a
Sometimes.
book or anything? Okay, you do. Okay,
So at the moment, with the way I do it is I kind of have some live streams that I present to my community so
okay,
that they can come and learn from my knowledge. However, as a live speaking event, I plan to do it maybe a little bit in the future, maybe 3, 4 years down the line,
okay.
and include that as part of what I do.
No, that is cool. So, I mean, do you like to write, or do you journal, or anything like that?
Yeah, I journal at least once a week,
Okay, well, that's
if
pretty
not
good.
every day.
Okay,
Yeah, if not every day, I journal once a week.
okay.
And I like to collect stories, interesting anecdotes of the day. And it's always fun to go back and see everything that's happened, everything. So,
You could do a
yeah,
book. Just have
maybe a
AI.
book.
They keep telling me to put all my
Yeah,
stuff in, and AI would write me a book, and that might be the way
yeah,
I actually get a book written. So, and
yeah,
and probably pretty quickly. I mean,
yeah,
it just floors me.
probably
So,
pretty quickly. Yeah,
yeah, it is.
yeah.
So, okay, you're doing what you're doing. Is there any other area? How many people do you work with usually at a time? Is there a number
So
or
usually it's a
okay?
one-to-one call.
So you don't do
But
any group then,
as
or
I, yeah, as I start to grow, I would do more group calls, and
okay,
eventually that I would lead up to speaking events and stuff.
okay, maybe be on Tony Robbins' stage. Would you
Maybe.
I could see you
I
doing
would
that?
look forward to that.
I could
I
see
would
you
look
looking forward
forward to
to that.
that.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
definitely could see you
I
doing that.
definitely,
I mean,
definitely.
so is there any other people that you follow besides Tony Robbins or kind of in that area?
Oh yeah, so many, so many. In different fields, right?
Sure.
So if you take a look at one of my favorite speakers, not speakers actually, people I follow. His name
Okay.
is Chris Voss.
Okay.
He's a former FBI negotiator from
Oh wow.
Kansas,
Oh wow.
and you should listen to him and some of the tactics he teaches. It's incredible. It's incredible.
I gotta
And
check.
it goes down to the nuances of human behavior, which is why it fascinates me so much.
Okay. I mean that is. I
Yeah.
mean, so the nuances. Do you study? I mean, do you go back to school, or you just do stuff online, or YouTube, or where do you learn? Where do you further your
Yeah.
education on?
I do a lot of my education through reading books. So I find something fascinating, something that's being recommended by a lot of people.
Uh huh.
I check out that book, read through
Right.
it, and then if it really captivates me, it's part of my tool collection. So, for example, the FBI negotiators often have to work with someone who doesn't want to give in to anything, which is the kind of person I was talking about a while back,
Yeah.
which is where they believe their way is the right way, and this is what needs to be done. Hello, hey Mark, are you there? Hey Mark,
I lost you.
oh you're back.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. We'll have
yeah,
to today's world. So you were saying. I mean, I.
yeah.
So
I'll continue.
yeah.
So I was speaking about the FBI hostage negotiator
Okay.
and how his tools are incredible because it's really based in human psyche. And his tools are not based in, okay, if I'm negotiating, I'm trying to get every last thing out of this person.
Uh,
No, you want to find a space where it can be a win-win for both people.
okay.
And I love that philosophy of his. And he has incredible tools. You should definitely
I
go check it
definitely will
out.
check him out. So I mean, that is.
Yeah.
So I mean, what else do you do in your life when you're not working? What are some other interests you have?
Oh, I love to hike, as I already
Right.
mentioned. I follow sports like tennis, cricket.
Okay.
I thoroughly enjoy those.
Okay.
And then what else? So remaining time, I love to spend time with my wife. Go close by any kind of place, just something new, something
Okay.
different. Or sometimes I I love to just watch Netflix. I like and I enjoy watching interesting
Yeah.
thriller movies. That's something I really enjoy. Actually, I got into books initially reading thriller books,
Okay.
suspense and detective stories. But very soon I somehow got into nonfiction, and
Okay.
now most of the books I read is nonfiction, and my wife cannot understand why I do
Well,
that.
we all have our own interests, that's for sure. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
did you were you married before you moved to Seattle, or did you meet your wife in Seattle?
I met my wife in college,
Okay. Okay.
and but we started dating after I moved to Seattle.
Okay. Awesome. So, I mean, so is she from that area, or where's she from originally?
She's also originally from
Is she?
India,
Okay. Okay.
but yeah, I met her in college, and then which was in Texas. So we both studied in Texas A&M,
Okay.
and then we kind of started dating, and now she's here as
Okay.
well.
Awesome. So you went. So how'd you like Texas?
Oh, Texas was very interesting. I love the big broad roads. I mean, if you're in
Yeah. Yeah.
Texas, like when you go from Washington to Texas, you'll see a huge difference in
Yeah.
landscape, and it's in your face almost because this in Seattle you barely have any space to drive.
Hmm.
When you go to Texas, you have
You
all the
do. It's
space to
definitely
drive.
wide open. That's for sure. So,
Yeah,
um, so
it's
no,
incredible.
I mean Texas is. I lived in Mesquite, Texas, for a little while, so yeah, I know Texas, but I
Ah,
like
okay.
Texas. And so if I were
Yeah.
coming to Seattle, what would you tell me to see there?
Oh, you can start with some of the touristy stuff here, which is like Space Needle, and then there are a couple of museums. You can go check out the Snoqualmie Falls,
Really?
which is a literal waterfall within the
Okay.
city area.
Okay.
There are amazing national parks right around
Oh, I
Seattle. I
love that.
think it's the only city with three national parks right around it.
Okay.
So it is
Nice.
gorgeous. If you come
I have
here,
never
a
been.
lot
No,
of
I have
people,
never been there.
yeah,
No, I
if you come here, a lot of people just focus on the nature aspect.
no, I California is about the only West Coast part that I've been. Otherwise, I have not been. And basically that's Southern California, so I've never even been to Northern
Yeah,
California. But love to travel. I need to get up to that area. I mean, if I could travel and do this podcasting, that would be my dream. On that. So I
yeah,
mean, it's just.
yeah,
In fact, I would love to go everywhere. I mean, very
yeah,
much. That would be so.
yeah.
So AJ, is there anything else before we end the podcast that you would like to share with what you're doing, or I mean, anything else you would like the audience to know?
I mean, I would just love to leave them with a last message that whatever dreams they have, if they're not able to get to that aspect, always look at what's the threshold, what's keeping you there. Is
Okay.
it something you're telling yourself? So let's say I want to get a
Right.
promotion, and I tell myself, okay, my manager doesn't like me. Okay, that may be true, but what aspects are you bringing that is not in alignment? Can you add certain aspects to the work front, certain skills that will change his or her perception? What can you do differently? Always focus within yourself. That threshold is actually the area where if you can push a little
Uh
more,
huh.
you'll find fulfillment. True fulfillment is always achieved by pushing the envelope just a bit more, just a
Okay.
bit more, just a bit more,
Okay.
and you'll have a life worth talking about.
Yeah. No, that is so. I think we talked the other day. Have you ever thought about doing your own podcast?
I have thought about it,
Hmm.
but I think it's down the line.
Yeah,
It's right now, all my focus is on helping clients one to one, and I want to do that really
yep,
well
I
and
hear
be
you.
completely true to it.
Yep,
Once I do that, then I'll be happy to do podcasts, live speaking events.
awesome. And I agree with you. Kind of focus on, you don't want to spread yourself too thin.
Yeah,
You don't aren't,
yeah,
yeah, you just need to do that. That is awesome.
yeah,
So
yeah,
AJ, unless you have anything else you would like to share, I will end the podcast there. And thank you for
yeah.
being the
I had
guest.
a great time.
And thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I had a great time too, and I look forward to keeping in touch and
Yeah,
seeing
absolutely.
your journey and seeing when you're ready for your podcasting. Help you get set up on
Yeah,
that.
yeah, absolutely,
And
man.
if I ever come to Seattle, I
Absolutely.
mean, I would love to look you up and
Yeah,
have
absolutely,
have a coffee
absolutely.
or whatever your drink of choice is. So, okay,
Yes,
sounds awesome. We'll
absolutely.
plan on that. So,
Take care,
yeah.
man. Have
Anyway,
a good
yeah,
one.
you take care. See ya.
See ya. Bye bye.